Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to day 16 of the 30-day email breakdown challenge. So, I'm Leonard. Today, we'll be breaking down one of the emails from the legendary copywriter John Carlton. So, to be honest, I didn't really notice about focus a lot of attention on John until this recent months, and the reason is because like like these copywriters are really low profile, and they really don't, in my opinion, they don't really advertise much about themselves compared to other marketers like Peng Jun, Dan Lok, and uh maybe Russell Brunson. Yeah, so they are pretty low profile, and I didn't really know much about his work, John Carlton's work, and until this recent months where I joined Copy Chief, and I realized that Kevin Rogers has been working very closely with John Carlton in his events and his training videos in Copy Chief. Yep. So that's where I started following John Carlton. But prior to this, right, I've already what I call subscribed to his list before, but I just didn't pay much attention to his emails until this recent months, as I said. Yep. and and from what I know about John, right, he's a legendary copywriter, which I think so after looking at his this email and some of his email when I was scrolling through, and while finding the perfect piece for this challenge. So yep, if you like to learn more about him, you can just click on the link below. I'll be sharing his link of his most popular product, simplewritingsystem.com. Yep. So if you'd like to find out more about him, just click on the link below at the description box below. Yep. Without further ado, let's dive into today's email breakdown. So today is at day 16. We have 40 more days to go. All right. The subject line: reality check. Are you being a sucker with your mullah? So mullah is just a American Singlish about of money. And then, are you being a sucker? Meaning, are you being a fool with your money? That's what I understand. That are you being a fool with your money? So, this obviously this is a question, right? And then it creates even more questions in the reader's mind. So, some of them might be, I guess I'm not, or maybe I am. So these two very contradicting answer, right, makes them want to find out the answer. Are they really uh, a sucker, or are they not a sucker? So it drags them into this the email, which is the first sentence. And while chatting a while back with a venerable marketer wizard marketing wizard Dean Jackson, he reminded me of an old experiment Gary Herbert and I did about corruption and graph. So, from the subject line to immediately to the this first sentence, right? So, as as I learned from one of the books from one of Joe Sugarman's book, he talked about how keeping short sentence at the front make the pull the reader into the entire copy. But the way he start here, right, and many of the other emails where if you were to take a look at other breakdowns, right, other of my breakdowns, they all started with long sentences, almost long sentences like this one. So the reason why they didn't follow uh that rule right there, right, in my opinion, is because in email people wants it is personal. So they click into it, right, they will start reading if it is if it is not spammy. Yeah. So as what he's doing here, right, in his first sentence he's immediately telling story. As I said, right, story immediately drags your reader into your marketing copy. And that's why I strongly encouraging you guys watching this, you guys, to uh to use story in your email copy, no matter what. Yeah, so even though it's very very short or very very long, just use it, and you will find that it helps with the connection between you and your reader. Yep. And Okay, it was about tipping, but we were exploring the narrow regions of the practice. So the two main episode for me went like this. Tipping experiment one. At the Bahama Hotel, I asked the bearded young clerk at the front desk if he could move me at no extra cost to a suite with a bay view, slipping a crisp $20 bill alongside his computer and winking. The clerk spent 20 minutes shifting reservation around was extremely helpful and got me a beachy new room with a view, smiling the whole time. An hour later, I walked by the front desk and noticed the $20 bill was still sitting next to the computer. So he hadn't noticed it was good raw service. Heaven and I was dumbfounded. Honest hotel employees at Florida Lauderdale was weren't supposed to exist. So in this part, right, he's using he's okay. So let's talk about the high level stuff. So the high level stuff is he's using two experiment. So I've go through the first experiment. So he's using two experiment, right, that he experienced real life. So he's mixing some kind of scientific stuff, but not really scientific because he didn't really go in through the lots of data and statistics to get the results. But he treated like an experiment, um, a human interaction kind of experiment right here. So he's mixing his personal story in to the experiment so that the experiment don't seem like just the steps just the procedure on a science lab sheet, but instead it contains feelings of his personal experience in it. John's personal experience. Yep. So tipping experiment number two. That night we went to a very crowded seafood joint. The wait was around 45 minutes, said the pretty young thing at the front desk. Excuse me. I gracefully held out another 20, which disappeared before I could suggest that perhaps a speedier sitting might occur. Thanks, she said, busily attending to her charts. A full 90 minutes later, we got seated next to the kitchen, the noisiest table in the restaurant. The 20 had accomplished nothing. So in fact, we had waited longer for a table that they first estimated. So the verdict. So yep, he's using strong words to create a mental movie here. So I didn't state it just now. Yep. So the verdict, which is the findings from his two experiments. So the findings is most folks believe it's just common sense that you can grease pumps and get better deals. So grease pumps in a sense that is kind of like benefits, giving some benefits to them and get better deals from his from greasing pumps, and that's his finding from the experiment. And my own reality check, however, support the opposite view, as illustrated by the two admittedly non-scientific experiment above. So for marketers, it's an ambiguous lesson, which is good to realize because dealing with humans means you will constantly encounter abuse, observe counterintuitive behaviors that defines your assumption. So don't affine anything. Don't assume anything. Yep. So the main point, this is the main point from, as you can see here, he bolded. So this is the main point from his story and his findings. So the reason why he wanted to include the findings between the story and the moral is because the findings give more context before he jumped to the moral of the story. So let's say John ended the experiment by saying the 20 had accomplished nothing. In fact, we had waited longer for a table than they first estimated. So don't assume anything. So you see the gap over there. So it makes the reader confused. So it's important to have the findings from his experiments. The findings is just the technique, but more importantly is having more context between the story and the moral of the story. Yeah, so it doesn't caught your reader on surprise. So let's continue find out by asking or testing why folks aren't buying your crap. Give any campaign your best shot. So this is just some recommendation of how you you test things out without assuming. Yeah, so this is the how you should not assume. So I still tip cause it's custom here, and I tip well when service is styling. I've been on the other side of the equation working for tips, and my empathy for good service and disgust for at poor service is sharp. However, I never assume my money buys anything. The nature of the person providing service is what determines the results. It's the same with a customer base. Just saying, stay frosty, John. Okay, so yep, there's nothing much here. So after the main point, he jumped to the tactics, which is this few paragraph how you should not assume, and then he give more context, and then he closed it. And in his PS, he reminded them about his offer, his new book. So for more stories like this, just pop over to Amazon and buy my freaking book already. So here's the link. I know some of you have been putting off getting it, and that's just silly. Copies are sitting on the desk and on the cleaners of the most influential marketer on the planet. So if the book is so good for them, shouldn't you break a finger tapping your way to the buy button and get stuff? So he's exaggerating the point here, which means like the sentence he's saying here, right, is like keep tapping the buy button until your finger breaks, right? So he's exaggerating the point here. Yeah. Then okay, summary notes. So the framework he used here, right, is by blending personal story and the two experiments together. So if you have two experiments alone, right, if just by saying two experiments alone, it's very plain, it's very boring, it's very scientific. See, when I back in secondary school, right, when I was doing science experiment, whenever I go up to a science lab, right, there's always a sheet of a laminated sheet of paper. So that sheet of paper, right? They all consist of the procedures of how I should conduct the experiment. So if John were to just write those procedure out right on this email, to start off, then it will seem very very boring. It's like step one, step two, this, then step three, this, step four, this. So it's very boring. So instead, he used that two experiment and blending his personal story and then provide his finding, then take out the main idea from the findings and the two experiment, and then giving value to the readers by telling what they should do instead of assuming, which is testing. But how? And then he answered that question also about how to do the testing. Give any campaign your best shot. Here, then different appeals, new ways of making it a bargain. Yep. So that's his value. That's how he provide the value in this email. So and then he remind his product, his book, at the PS section. So he's just reminding them, which is what I always enforce you to do. No hard selling here. Don't ever hard sell to your list. Yeah, unless it is a promo, a very a particular promo that you need to sell a little bit harder. But don't let your readers seem uh like you are very needy. So yeah, no, in my opinion, I think needy if you are needy you can't get anywhere far. Yeah, so don't be needy. Just soft sell just soft sell and maybe a hard sell a little bit if it is on a promo. Yeah, using the discounts and the offer that you have crafted for them. So yep, two things good about this email is too compact and short scenario without lacking any context, jumping from point to point. So in these two experiment, right, if you were to look into these two experiment, these two experiment is very compact, it's very short. But it's short, but it doesn't lose me halfway or make me seem like or make me wonder that something is missing or or whatever that makes me confused, like lacking of connection between ideas to ideas. So there isn't anyone. So which is what I'm very impressed with the ability, with how he managed to shorten the entire story to just this few paragraph without making me confused or anything like this. And the second point that I think is good about this email is of course the perfect reminding of his book um, to his reader. So it just reminds them about his offer. So com- if you compare 10 reminders to one hard sell, right, I'll for sure you the 10 reminders is more effective the than one hard sell. I don't have the statistics, but if you like to try that out, then let me know the results. I'll be more than happy to discuss with you the result or just talk to you about it with the results. Because in my opinion, because you know this kind of stuff, I know that it's true that in copywriting we need to see the results to get verified, to have the credibility to state what we say. But uh as humans, as because we are telling stories here, stories are about feelings, about emotions. So if you are human, if you if it makes you read and want to buy, and then it works, right? So I still think that soft selling is the best way to go than hard selling. So just keep that in mind. And yep, if you don't believe it, you can go ahead and try it in your business. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So one area of improvement is the transition to his product instead of closing at the end. So I think the entire email is very smooth, very good, including the last part. It's the same with your customer base, and maybe he like to talk more about or giving more context at the back after this sentence, and then link to his maybe best selling product or the most popular product. Yep. So that's one area of improvement that I think he should do in his email, which is adding more context after the transition and then close with his product instead of putting it at a PS. Yep. So that's my comment about that's my critique about this email and the breakdown of it. So if you have any comments about my breakdown or my comments at the last part for the improvement part, sure, just put them below down in the section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If not, as usual, give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel so you get notified when the next video is uploaded. So thanks. See you.